Good morning, everybody. How we doing? It is July 17th. You know what that means? We're talking baseball. It's the middle of the summer. Most people would say, oh, there's not a lot going on. It's a dead week. No. There's plenty going on. There's always a lot going on. But especially in the world of baseball. And that's where we're going to start today on episode number 20. That's right. We've made it to episode number 20 already on this Dave Talk Sports podcast. I am your host, Dave Ettinger of CBS Sports Radio Network, and as always, you join me on my ride home from work. Just left the studios, CBS Sports Radio. It's 6:30 exactly a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is the time that you join me. And I drive from Manhattan all the way home to Long Island. I drive in and out every night, work overnight, and this is the life. So, we talk sports every day, so let's jump right in to the baseball diamond. Let's start with a guy named Bryce Harper. You know him, he's got beautiful hair, now we're not here to talk about his hair. He does have a nice set of hair though, nicer than me I think. Bryce Harper got a ridiculous 13-year contract. It's ridiculous, it's all guaranteed. It's the length of the contract is absolute insanity. But people who think that he's the best player in the league, in the world, they don't know baseball. But at the same time, it's not vitriol, but it's people are actually underrating him too far in the opposite direction because the guy likes to hit 240, 250, 260. And just because most of Major League Baseball hits 240 and 250 doesn't make it okay. But Bryce Harper is I think he's hitting 257 right now. And that's after a big night last night. So he had a home run. He had a walk-off double, which drove in 2, which won the game in the bottom of the ninth. Has a monstrous game. And just because he's hitting 257 and most of this season, it might be I think it's 257. I got to double check that. But he's hitting somewhere in that range. But because most of this year he's been hitting in the 240, 250 range, and last year he started out with an atrocious batting average, people think he's having a down year or a bad year. Now he's not having what he did in 2015, where he hit like 330, and he hit 40 home runs and stole all sorts of bases, and it just was ridiculous. He was like the best player in baseball. He's not doing that because he's not that. That's not the player that he is. It's really not. He's a very, very nice player, but I think people they're evaluating him too far in the opposite direction. They're actually now underrating him because his batting average is not great. All right, welcome to 2019 Major League Baseball. So Bryce Harper is actually having a pretty good season. He's driven in almost 70 runs. He's got 17 home runs, stolen a couple bases. He doesn't run as much as he used to. Plays a really good field. He's got a good glove, a good arm. And he scored almost 70 runs as well. So, the Phillies, they might be in third place in their division in the NL East right now. That's due in a large part because the Braves are just a better team. The Nationals have been absolutely unbelievable. I think they have the best record in baseball over the last month or so. I mean, they've been unbelievable. They've been on an unbelievable tear. But the Phillies are still going to make the playoffs. They're still a really solid team. But Bryce Harper is not the best player in the world. He's not, he might be the face of baseball, but that doesn't make you the best player in baseball. But again, I think you need to just judge him for what he is. He's a really nice player who is not going to hit 330. He's not Mike Trout. He's not Christian Yelich. He's not what Cody Bellinger is doing this year. And that's where we shift this conversation. We talked about them yesterday. It's going to be, I believe, a very tight National League MVP race. Just last night, again, Bellinger with a home run. Yelich with a home run. Yelich's was a grand slam. These guys are having unbelievable years, and right now you flip a coin, I'm not sure who's the MVP. I know I told you a week or two ago it was Yelich and it was hands down and you could just hand him the trophy right now. I may have spoken too soon. He's more of a proven player, I'd say. He won the MVP last year. He's more of a track record. He's a little bit older than Cody Bellinger. But Bellinger's been a pretty hyped player, and he's right now living up to the bill. So we'll see. And those are two very, very good teams. The Dodgers, the Brewers. These are two very, very solid teams in the National League. Now, another very solid team would be the team that I root for, the New York Yankees. I don't want to hear about Travis d'Arnaud anymore and his 3 home runs and the Mets should have kept him or they should trade back for him and blah, blah. No, Travis d'Arnaud still sucks. All right, everybody relax. Everybody pump the brakes. He had a really, really big game 2 nights ago against the Yankees. He was the reason they won the game. He hit 3 home runs, even one in the 9th inning off Chapman. You know what happened. But the Yankees came back and they had a little home run derby of their own. Judge hit a home run. D. Gregorius with a grand slam. That's what Yankee Stadium is. It's like a home run derby every night. But the Yankees took it to the Rays last night, and I think that the Rays, as good as they are not the team to really worry about. Just letting somebody cross the street. As you know, you join me on my commute home every morning, so we got to be careful here in the streets of Manhattan. Here we go. I am Dave Ettinger. I'm the host of the Dave Talk Sports podcast. This is episode number 20. And you can find me on Twitter as well at Dave Ettinger2. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dave Talk Sports, right below this video. Leave all the comments you want in the YouTube comment section. I will answer them as fast as humanly possible. You can also leave comments on the Dave Talk Sports Facebook page as well as DaveTalkSports.com. You type in Dave Talk Sports somewhere, you'll find me. The Yankees are looking really good. I mean, they're pretty much the best team in the American League, and they still need to and will add a starting pitching arm in the trade deadline, in the trade market. We'll see who they end up with. There's a lot of rumors to are they actually going to trade with the Mets for once, between Zach Wheeler, even though he's a little banged up, or Noah Syndergaard. I think hell's going to freeze over before the Mets trade with the Yankees. Just my opinion. Is it going to be Marcus Stroman now that he's healthy from the Blue Jays? Is it going to be Max Scherzer? I don't think he's coming, but who knows? Is it going to be Madison Bumgarner? I certainly hope it's not Matthew Boyd of the Tigers. So we'll see. I think it's interesting, but I know that they're going to add somebody. And I would take a Trevor Bauer, I'll tell you that right now. But we'll see. Last thing from baseball, Jake Marisnick. You know the name. He's like the 4th outfielder on the Astros. He's an okay player. Plays with a lot of heart, a lot of hustle. And that kind of got him in a little bit of hot water the other day. Bowled over, absolutely ran over, just trucked Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher for the Angels. Now, again, I told you I didn't think it was intentional. I think it was a bang-bang play where he just got caught in a bad spot and ran the guy over. And I feel bad for Lucroy. He ended up with a concussion. He ended up with a broken nose, I think. And he's going to be out for a couple weeks. So I do feel bad. But Marisnick, he was hit with a suspension for the hit. Don't think that's right at all. But then what happens? Now that they played the Angels last night, what happens? One of the relief pitchers for the Angels, and you saw it coming. And so did Marisnick. Remember that. Plunks Marisnick. The problem I have is that it was up in the head region. You want to hit a guy, hit him in the side, hit him in the arm. It ended up hitting him in the back of the shoulder, right? But right in the upper part, right where it looked like he was aiming for his head. That's the part I don't like, because you could kill a guy with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. You really can. So I don't like that part. But Marisnick took it like an old school player. They used to police themselves. Oh, you want to showboat? You want to take out one of my guys with your cleats up? You want to do something like run over my catcher when we don't think it was the right thing for you to do? Well, we're going to hit you with the baseball next time you're up. And that's what they did. And again, Jake Marisnick handled it like he knew it was coming. It didn't bother him all that much. Because what happens? Marisnick gets hit. You thought maybe tempers were going to flare. They didn't. Marisnick simply put the bat down, jogged down the first base, stood there next to Albert Pujols. Maybe there's a little bit of chatter, not from Marisnick, but from Pujols and the Astros dugout. Now, eventually, Pujols walks over. It looks like he's trying to get into it with some guys in the Astros dugout. A.J. Hinch, the manager, comes out. Everyone comes out. Gurriel, Altuve, Reddick. Everybody comes out and comes to the defense of Marisnick. But Marisnick is actually trying to de-escalate the situation. He's actually went off first base towards his dugout and waved, said, "Get back in the dugout. I don't need this to turn into a thing. I knew this was coming, even though I feel like I didn't do anything wrong or I didn't do anything on purpose. I had this coming, so just let it go. We don't need to get in a brawl over this." And it was really mature of Marisnick, and I actually really, really appreciated that. And it got to the point where both dugouts were kind of standing on the field, but nobody did anything. It was just kind of a gathering of dudes on a field. I'm gonna post a video of it on Twitter. Again, you can find me at Dave Ettinger2. So I'm gonna post a link to this video, and I want you to watch the whole thing and notice how good of a job, how mature of a job Jake Marisnick did in not escalating the situation. Instead, doing the opposite. And most times you see guys want to charge the mound. They want to get into it. They want to be tough guys. And then when it comes down to actually throwing some fists, it's hold me back. I like what Jake Marisnick did there. And I think both teams, they get over it, they get past it, and they move on from here. So we're going to transition straight to football. I feel like every day, every morning, we're talking a little bit more about the NFL. It's almost that time. It's July 17th. We're getting there. It's almost NFL time. So we're talking about guys like Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon, Jadeveon Clowney. What do these guys have in common? Yeah, obviously they're in the NFL. But they're all about to deal with or are already dealing with some form of a contract dispute or issue. Are players going to hold out? Are players going to make a big stink about what's happening? They should. The NFL and the team's owners have all the control and all the power in the NFL. And anybody who knows sports and knows the NFL and knows football knows that. And the players know that. And that's why when the new CBA is being worked on and they're working out the details, and the NFL wants to say, well, you guys need to play 18 games, change the schedule to an 18-game schedule. I said this the other day, you got to take a hard stance with a hard no. But I also said you need to work for fully guaranteed contracts like the other major sports, especially because football is the most violent, most grueling, most physically taxing professional sport there is. So Melvin Gordon, we talked about him the last couple of days. He's still hitting you with the beep, you pay me. And again, I don't blame him. But now we look at another running back who, in my opinion, is better than Gordon, more valuable to his team than Gordon, and that's Ezekiel Elliott of the Cowboys. He's not making anywhere near what he deserves. So the question is he going to sit out? Is he willing to sit out to get what he wants or get what he deserves? And this really just opens up the can of worms of running backs in the NFL. What are they worth? What's their value to a team? It almost seems like running backs are replaceable. I mean, as good as Ezekiel Elliott is, when that Dallas Cowboys offensive line is good, you could put almost any professional running back there and he's going to get you between 900 and 1,100 yards. Now, I think Zeke is a special talent, so there will be a drop-off, but is the drop-off worth, the $20, $30, $40 million difference that these guys are looking for? I don't know. Now, the real problem I have with the money and the contracts that we're talking about for this upcoming year is the Jadeveon Clowney situation. All right, so he's not getting a long-term deal. The Texans are also going into this season. I talked about this last week. The Texans are actually going into the season with no general manager. They're just going to have a collective group of front office personnel make decisions on contracts and other trades and other moves at the roster decisions. All the decisions that are going to be made by this collective front office. It's a little, unconventional. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. We'll see. Only time will really tell for something like this. But right now, it's more of a question of, is it fair? What's about to happen to Jadeveon Clowney? Now, some think of him as a linebacker. Some think of him as a defensive end. He does get after the quarterback. Some linebackers do that. Some defensive ends do that. And that's primarily a defensive edge, edge rusher especially, is a guy who's going to get sacks. He's going to get after the quarterback. He's going to put pressure on the opposing quarterback. And you could argue outside of the quarterback and the offensive line, specifically the left tackle, that the pass rusher is the most important position on the field. So when you get franchise tagged and get paid for that 1 year, it's fully guaranteed, but you get paid for that 1 year, you get paid more when you're franchise tagged as a defensive end than you are as a linebacker. And that's why Jadeveon Clowney is upset, rightfully so, that he's about to get franchise tagged for $1.7 million less simply because of the position that he's being characterized as. And he's saying, no, I'm a defensive end. I didn't ask you to call me a linebacker. It's very interesting. It's an interesting spot, and they were going to see what happens and how it plays out. But if I'm him, I'm saying, no, I'll take that extra 1.7 mil. I'll put that right in my bank account. Thank you very much. And I don't blame him. Because again, NFL players deserve to make fully guaranteed contracts all the time, not just when they're franchise tagged. So I'm always, unless the answer is just bad guy, I'm rooting for you if you're an NFL player. I just am. So the last thing I want to talk about really quick is some basketball. And we're going to finish talking about this tomorrow, and this is going to go on until the season potentially starts and gets going. Is the Warriors, what they look like now without Kevin Durant, with an injured Klay Thompson, it's a little bit of a new look. You lose Andre Iguodala as well. You bring in D'Angelo Russell. And there's so many questions and so many different directions I want to go. And I think tomorrow I'm going to take it in the direction of ranking all the teams in the East and in the West with the new look free agency, with the new look teams where everyone has moved, all this movement. It's you have to re-rank the teams. So I'm going to give you that tomorrow. But to finish off today's podcast, which is episode number 20 of the Dave Talk Sports podcast, I am your host, Dave Ettinger of CBS Sports Radio Network. You can find me on Twitter at Dave Ettinger2. Please subscribe right below this video at the Dave Talk Sports YouTube channel. Leave all the comments you want in that YouTube comment section. I'll be sure to answer them as soon as possible. I'm hearing that people want the Warriors to trade D'Angelo Russell before he's even played a game for them. And I get that, it was a sign and trade that got Durant and D'Angelo Russell to be able to essentially swap teams. Otherwise, the money and the contracts may not have worked out for both sides. So I get that. But with Klay Thompson injured, losing Iguodala, losing Durant, all these different changes that the Warriors are making, why would they turn around and trade D'Angelo Russell before he ever played there? This was a number 2 overall draft pick when he was drafted. He is a super talented guy, showed a little bit of immaturity in with the Lakers, and that's why they kind of sold him off, and they got 50 cents on the dollar. I'm not saying the Warriors would get that, but why trade a guy with so much upside, so much potential, who's not even 25 yet? Like, I don't get that. And then it brings me back to the thing that bothers me the most about the NBA and people talking about the NBA. People love to throw the word fit around all day, every day. And we're going to talk about this more tomorrow. What is this fit? There's no such thing as fit in the NBA. The NBA is positionless. You put stars and superstars, stupid stars, stars and superstars on the court at the same time, and they just figure it out. I don't care if you have 3 guys that play in the same position that do the same thing. If they're all capable of giving you 25, 7, and 7 like LeBron, you just figure it out. So if D'Angelo Russell can give you 20 points, 7 assists, 3-4 rebounds, and a steal every night, you don't trade him. He and Steph Curry and the other guys, Draymond Green and everybody else on the court, will just figure it out. It's the same with Westbrook and Harden. Now, I'm going to go in more on this tomorrow, trust me, because this drives me freaking up a wall. So you're going to get my brutally honest take on that tomorrow. But for now, that's it on episode 20. It was a good one. I had fun. I hope you had fun. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel below the video. Follow me on Twitter at DaveEttinger2. Again, check my Twitter for the link of the Jake Marisnick de-escalated situation. And for now, see ya.